Welcome to Nihil Adult Learning's presentation on the Canada Child Benefit. This is the first in a series of videos explaining the different social benefits available to eligible newcomers living and working in Canada. We hope that this video helps you understand who can apply and how to apply for this benefit. Canada offers a wide range of social programs to help Canadians with their financial, personal, social, and emotional well-being. Many of them are available to temporary residents living and working in Canada. Some benefits you have to apply for once you are eligible. Some benefits are given to you once you file your taxes for the first time. Some benefits are payments made directly to your bank account either once a month, once every 3 months, or once a year. Some benefits are tax credits which you use to pay less taxes when you do your taxes. The CCB is a tax-free monthly payment made to families to help with the cost of raising children under 18 years of age. Tax-free means that you do not have to include this money when you do your taxes. The adult person in the family who is mainly responsible for the care of the children will apply for the benefit. We will talk more about that later in the presentation. In this presentation, we will talk about these topics. Who is eligible for CCB benefits? How to apply for them? Some tips for newcomers when you are filling out the application. What documents you will need to send in or upload. How to submit your application. And what to do after you apply. Let's talk about who can apply for CCB. You are eligible for CCB if you are living with a child who is under 18 years of age. Responsible for the care and upbringing of the child. This is called the primary caregiver. A resident of Canada for tax purposes. The person applying or their spouse also has to be one of these. A Canadian citizen. A permanent resident. A protected person. A temporary resident who has lived in Canada for 18 months and has a valid permit in the 19th month. This last category includes temporary foreign workers with closed work permits, open work permit holders, and study permit holders. The primary caregiver is the parent that is supervising the child's daily activities and needs, making sure the child's medical needs are met, arranging for childcare when necessary. When both parents live in the same home as the child, the government considers the female parent to be the primary caregiver and will be the person who applies and gets the CCB payments. If the other parent is the one who is primarily responsible, then they will need to attach a signed letter to their application from the female parent saying that the other parent is the primary caregiver. As long as one of you is eligible, you can apply for the CCB. For example, where the father has eligibility and the mother does not, the mother can still apply based on the father's eligibility. You have 3 options for applying for CCB. When your child is born. When you are in the hospital for the birth of your child, you can apply at the same time that you register the birth of your child. Online through your MyCRA account. If you are eligible, it means you will have done taxes in Canada already. If you didn't at that time, you will want to create a MyCRA account. This account gives you access to information about different tax credits that are available to you. It also will have all your information for your taxes. This option is the quickest way if you are a newcomer who has brought your family to Canada. By mail. You can download the application form using the QR code. The mailing address is provided at the end of the presentation. For newcomers who have problems applying online through your CRA account, the CRA recommends that you apply by mail. Completing the application. The first part of the form begins with your personal information. This section is pretty straightforward. Basic information like social insurance number, birth date, names, phone number. The second step requires you to provide both your mailing address and your street address. In a rural community, the mailing address is often different than the home address. Your mailing address will be your P.O. box number. Your street address is your house number and the street on which you actually live. If you live in an apartment, then you will include your apartment number. Both will include the city, province, and postal code. The third part can get a little more complicated depending on your marital situation. If you are married and your partner is a resident of Canada, then you will have to provide their social insurance number. If your partner is not a resident of Canada, then you will have to fill out the Form CTB 9-24, which you can access through the QR code provided. This will be an additional form you have to submit with your application. Help with this form will be provided later on in the presentation. Most newcomers will select no to the 2 questions in Step 4 and yes to the 2 questions in Step 5. Eligibility for CCB means that you have been in Canada for 18 months but probably less than 2 years. This means that you will have to fill another form RC66SCH and add it to your application. You can download this form using the QR code provided. It asks you to confirm your and your spouse's status as well as report your and your spouse's annual income, Canadian and foreign, for the last 2 years. Step 6. You will have to enter your child's personal information. If you have more than 2 children that you are applying for, then you will need another form for the other children. Use the QR code provided to download this form. Form RC66SH. You have to fill out this form. If you became a resident of Canada in the last 2 years, became a Canadian citizen in the last 12 months, or are a permanent resident, protected person, or temporary resident who has lived in Canada in the last 18 months. Let's take a look at how to do that now. Your first step is to provide your and your spouse's social insurance number and first and last names. If your spouse does not have a social insurance number, then check the box provided. In Step 2, you will provide your residency status. This usually is the same day as you arrived in Canada. Enter the date that you arrived in Canada. In Step 3, you will provide information about your immigration status. Simply fill in Section A, B, or C, whichever applies to you, with the dates that you received this status in Canada. Temporary residents will fill out Section D. As proof that you have lived in Canada during the last 18 months and your work permit is valid in the 19th month. You must provide the name of the document or documents, whatever permit you were given by IRCC, that support your status and your spouse's status during that 18-month period. An example of needing a second document to cover the 18-month period would be if your permit expired and you got a new permit during that time. Step 4 requires you to report your total income that was not reported on a Canadian tax return. Record the year that you became a resident in Canada. Next, record the income you earned in Canadian dollars during the months of that year before you came to Canada. You do not need to enter your spouse's income in Section A if they did not become a resident in the year you recorded. You also have to provide the income, in Canadian dollars, that you earned in the previous 2 years. So if you entered 2024 in Section A, enter 2023 in Section B and 2022 in Section C. You only have to enter information in Part C if you came to Canada between January 1st and May 31st of the year you put in Section A. So if you came to Canada in February 2024, you would fill out this section. If you came to Canada in June 2024, you would not. Once you have completed filling out the form, sign and date it. Filling out Form CBT-9. If your spouse or partner was not a Canadian resident for all or part of the year that you put in Step 1, you will also have to fill this form out. For this first section, you are providing your information: your name, social insurance number, and phone number. Next, provide your mailing address and your street or home address. Finally, fill in your spouse or common law's information. Remember to check the box if they do not have a social insurance number. Just like in Form RC66SCH, you will have to fill in the section A, B, or C, whichever applies to your spouse's situation. As long as you are receiving the CCB benefit, your spouse may have to fill out this form every year when you do your taxes. Now that we have gone over the different forms you could fill out, let's review what we need to complete your application. You will need to complete and submit A completed RC66. The Form RC66SCH for newcomers. The Form CTB9 for newcomers with spouses who are not Canadian residents. If you are applying online or by mail, you will need a photocopy of one proof of birth for each child you are applying for. This could be some kind of birth certificate or registration, a passport or record of landing from IRCC, or some kind of provincial ID card or citizenship. Newcomers should also include copies of the permits of everyone that is listed on the application as proof of their status in Canada. In the situation where the parents no longer live together and the child or children live with one of the parents, this next section may apply to you. If your child started living with you more than 11 months ago from the time you apply, then you will have to submit more documents. You will only need to do this if you have received custody of your children and waited to apply, or if you are applying late because you didn't know about the program. If this is the case, you will need to provide 3 different documents to prove you live in Canada. Some are listed here. You will also need to provide 3 different documents to prove that you were the primary caregiver from the time the child started living with you. These could be a letter from a daycare or school, a letter from a social worker, a court order or agreement showing your custody arrangements, a registration form from an activity or club the child was enrolled in. You will also need proof of your residency status. We have listed some of the more common documents. For the full list of acceptable documents, use the QR code and follow the link. To submit your application online, simply use your MyCRA account and upload the completed application and scan and upload any extra required documents. To submit by mail, print it out and send it to the address of the nearest tax center provided here. Once the CRA has processed your application, they will send you a notice stating if you are eligible, how much you will receive, and what information they use to calculate that. The processing times for mail-in applications is 11 weeks from the time the CRA receives your application. For online and in-hospital applications, it is 8 weeks. Make sure you have signed up for direct deposit. You can do this through your MyCRA account as well. To summarize, the CCB is a tax-free monthly payment made to families to help with the cost of raising children under 18 years of age. As a temporary resident, it is available to you after you or your spouse has lived 18 months in Canada. Our recommendation is to have someone familiar with the application to look over and make sure your application is complete and that you have all the documents necessary ready to submit. Thank you for watching our video. We hope it has been helpful for you in understanding and applying for the CCB. If you have any other questions about this program or want help applying for it, contact our office and we would be happy to help. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel so that you get updates on new videos. See you in the next video.